How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So thanks for taking this time to meet with me today. I know you had some concerns about one of the students in your classroom, right? Okay. So just so we're on the same page, what grade is it that you teach?
8th grade.
8th grade. Okay. And they have class with you all day. They don't switch teachers for subjects. Okay. Perfect. And how long have you known the student that we're talking about?
So this is his first year in my class, so about 5 months.
Okay, so just this academic year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you interact with him every day, it sounds like. Okay,
yep. Monday through Friday.
And in the classroom, about how many kids are in the classroom total?
About 20.
Okay,
yeah.
And you're the only teacher? Do you have any assistants or
No.
anything? Okay, and so you see him just purely kind of in like a traditional academic teacher setting. You don't do kind of specials, recess, lunch, anything like that.
It's just your usuals, writing, math, history.
The fun stuff. Okay, so let's get right into it then. What's concerning you? What's causing troubles?
He just gets really disruptive when he's asked to do individual desk work. Pretty much every time, he'll just kind of swipe his materials off the desk, make direct eye contact with me, drop it on the ground.
Okay, so swiping his materials. I know you said he picks it up, puts it down. It sounds like he's trying to kind of engage you in a little bit of
he's absolutely trying to get
power struggle. Is in terms of kind of like the intensity and what that looks like. Is it forceful? Is there aggressive? Are you concerned about like him like hurting any students from throwing stuff? Or
no, he's not throwing it. He is just dropping it.
Okay.
If anything, he might harm his books, but it's not really very destructive.
Okay, and I know you kind of made this motion, so it's not like he sits down and it's
pretty deliberate.
My concerted effort at doing this. Just 1 second. Okay, so I'm just going to plug my computer in and make sure that this doesn't go away. I'm just recording this for data collection and transcription purposes. Okay, so we were just talking about kind of, the form of the behavior, the topography, and what it looks like, and how you're saying kind of looks very intentional, picks it up, drops it. You're not concerned about any safety or him, hurting anyone or anything like that. And it's not, is it, damaging properties? He, kind of ruining the textbooks as a result of it? Do we have any concerns with, like, the school kind of getting involved from that side of things?
I mean, it certainly could happen, but
that's not the intent, like, from your perspective. It's not like ripping a book and...
No.
Okay, cool. That'd be some Hulk strength right there. Yeah. Okay, and so you said this happens during what kind of work again?
When they're asked to do their individual desk work, so writing worksheets or in their journals, answering questions in the textbooks.
Okay, so they get that stuff to do and kind of... everyone's expected to just kind of work independently, quietly on those things. Okay. And how often, do they have to do this desk work?
About 3 or 4 times per day.
3 or 4 times per day?
Like once per period, so to speak.
Okay. And of those 3 to 4 times a day that they have this desk work to do, because you said that the swiping is only occurring when he's doing desk work, right? What percentage of times would you say that he, tosses stuff on the floor? I
mean, the majority of the time, so I would say like more than half of the chances that he gets. Yeah.
Okay. And you said it's only during that independent type activities, right? And are the same kids in the class all day, same staff? There's, so same people whenever this happens.
Yeah. Everyone has assigned seats. They're in their spots for pretty much the whole school year.
Okay. In any situations when, this behavior is most probably not going to occur?
I mean, really any of the other activities during the day, it doesn't seem to be a problem, although that might just be because he doesn't have his paper and books out on his desk.
Right. So that, that's the other thing I was going to think about. Does he have other stuff on his desk, though, that, like, he could toss?
Yes, like, if he has his, like, phone out or something,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he's not going to throw that, but, like, water bottle, no.
Okay. And he's not, throwing other things around the room.
No, and it's not really throwing. It really is just
right,
slipping it off.
Right. Yeah, but like even walking around the room, he's not just like off other kids' desks or the counter or anything like that.
That would be a more serious concern.
Okay. All right. So let's think about like a time this recently happened, right? I know you said this happens when he's presented desk work during these independent work times, but like, can walk me through what that looks like right before he tosses it on the floor.
Yeah. So I ask everyone to return to their seats if they were doing some other activity. Get out your books. I'll come around and hand out the worksheets or their journals and ask them to start whatever the task is. Go back to my desk or
so you're passing out and putting these things on their desks. They're not taking them out, or do kids
they take out
store things in their desks? They don't even know.
No. They take out their own books, but then I'll hand out the worksheets.
Okay. Any differentiation between, like, the materials that he's using? Is he more likely to toss what you give him versus his book that he took out? Or is
it's all.
Both of it goes on the floor? And then when, he takes his stuff out, you put that worksheet on his table, kind of how quickly does he toss it on the ground? Or
sometimes it's right away, but usually it's when I walk away or turn my back. Come back here.
Now that this has been happening for a while, do you find that you've changed the way that you present the task to him at all?
Absolutely, yeah. I would generally just treat everyone in class the same way, handled all the work. Occasionally now, especially if it's something that I think it's more likely to happen with, I'll sit with him for a little while to get him started to do the work, try to get some momentum building.
Okay. And so when you're doing that, you said when it's something you think it's more likely to happen with, what would make you think that?
I guess if I've just seen it more recently, like if we're reading a book that he really doesn't seem to enjoy.
Okay, so not necessarily related to, like, maybe a specific subject, but more like, this is already the second time today you did it.
Right.
So I'm going to bet that,
Yeah, it's more like that.
Okay. So you put the stuff down on his desk, and you said if you stay there and give him a little bit more help, then he doesn't do it at all?
Yeah, as long as I'm right there working with him, then it doesn't happen.
And when you're giving him this help, do you help him to kind of completion? Or
I'll get him
do you
about halfway
stand
through.
there to completion, you're just kind of leering over?
No, not really. I get him about maybe halfway through one of the questions, and then when I see that he's starting to kind of
focus
work independently, I'll walk away. And it doesn't then really happen again immediately, but it usually does eventually.
Okay.
Again, like before the work is over.
Okay. I mean, does he ever finish the task independently?
Sometimes. Yeah,
okay.
Occasionally. Like I said, this happens maybe 50 to 75% of the time.
But say you go, you pick, he tosses it, you give it back to him, you give him a little bit of help, and then you walk away. Will he ever finish it then?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it sounds like some of the ways that you've tried to cut this off in the past is by giving him a little bit of help. Has there been any other ways that you've kind of tried to respond or intervene to this in the past?
I mean, I definitely asked him to stop.
Yeah.
I probably reacted a little bit more with a reprimand in the past, just saying, hey, cut that out. And now it's almost routine. So I just...
It's a little bit of a game.
Yeah, I just come over and pick it back up, put it on his desk.
And so you pick it up, put it back on his desk, and now you're at the point where you're primarily, giving him help, right? So if you didn't help him to begin with, then you're giving him help after you pick it back up. Is there any kind of like reprimand or disapproval at that point, or
honestly, no? I probably react some way, whether I sigh or roll my eyes, but it's not even worth saying anything at this point.
Does he solicit help, or do you just assume he needs it?
I mean, I don't even know if I'd say that he needs it. He just won't do the work unless I'm sitting right there with them.
So kind of like showing him like, hey, you can do this. Yeah. In general, though, during the day, like if he needs help with work, does he ask for it?
Again, I don't know that I would say that he ever does need the help necessarily, but he doesn't really call me over. No.
Okay. And then so you said right after the behavior occurs, you typically pick it up, hand it back, and, sometimes, you give help as well. Pretty much all the time now are you giving help?
Yeah. Okay. I would say most times if it hits the ground, I'll come and help out.
And is that pretty immediate? Are there ever times when, you pass around, you're walking around the rest of the class, passing stuff around, it's on the floor, and, you don't give help right away?
Yeah, definitely. Or if I'm helping someone else.
Yeah, of course. With 19 other kids. Yeah. In those times when you don't give help immediately, do things escalate, or?
No, it'll pretty much just stay there on the ground, and he'll either
just chillax,
stare into space, or get his phone out,
Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go through a couple kind of specific questions, and some of these, may be more applicable than others, but bear with me.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so does the problem behavior, the swiping materials, occur when the person is not receiving attention or when you're giving attention to someone else?
I mean, yeah, I would say so, because he does seem to, like I said, want to kind of get a rise out of me and get my help, so...
Does the problem behavior occur when the person requests for, desirable items or activities, and then you say no? So would you say that, like, if you restricted access to something that he liked, he would engage in this behavior more?
That doesn't really happen all that much during the school day. I mean, obviously, when it's time to do work, I'll ask everyone to put away their phones or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's not until the work is right in front of him that the behavior really occurs.
And so, like, you tell him to put his phone away, he tosses his stuff on the floor, does he go right back to, like, his phone?
No,
or?
Like I said, I mean, if I leave him sitting there for a while, that might happen.
Okay. Cool. When the behavior occurs, do you ever try to, kind of calm him down or, kind of cajole him back into, like, come on, this could be fun, let's do it together? Or have you ever tried to kind of, I don't want to say, like, bribe, but maybe, like, incentivize, just doing your work?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I've really needed to calm him down. I mean, it's not like he's angry exactly, but, yeah, I mean, I try to get him engaged, certainly, and get him interested in the work.
Okay. Let's see. I lost my place. Would you say he's typically pretty, well-behaved when, getting, attention from you or from peers or, kind of when he's freely able to kind of engage in preferred activities?
Yeah, I mean, he's not a bad kid. He's not a jerk, he's not a bully. So
he's not just one of those ones just like, I just like pissing people off to piss him off.
No, I mean, I really do think he's playing with me,
And he has what you would consider kind of like normal peer relationships.
Yeah, yeah, he's got friends.
Does he usually fuss or resist when you ask him to perform in these activities? I know it's kind of awkward wording.
I mean, if you call this behavior fussing and resisting, then yeah, I guess.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he's certainly not trying to be like, no, I don't want to. He's kind of figured out a more direct way to get out of it. Does the problem behavior occur when he's asked to perform a task or participate in activities?
Yeah, these specific activities, the individual work.
Okay, and so other times that you ask him to participate in demands, academic or otherwise, he complies?
Yes, I can't really say that he's really paying attention, but during, like, discussions or if I'm just teaching from the book,
right,
this doesn't happen.
And in general, just like, anything like, hey, let's come, get lined up to leave for lunch or anything. So it's not just like I'm never going to do anything you ask.
No.
Okay. No. Let's see. Does the problem behavior, if the problem behavior occurs when you're presenting this task, right, has he ever kind of gotten a break from the task as a result of, swiping things?
Yeah, I mean, as long as I'm not there helping him with it and it's on the ground, he's not doing the work, so.
True, very true. And he, you've never been like, you never responded with like, well, maybe you need to take a break and come back and cool off or anything like that. Because it sounds like it's not very like emotionally charged. It's just like,
yeah.
Okay. Is the person typically well behaved if he's not required to do anything? So, you're not putting any demands on him. He's, engaging in kind of normal, age appropriate,
no problem
independent leisure, whatever.
It really is just these specific circumstances.
Okay. This might be hard to answer, but has there ever been a time when, say, you presented the task and then you weren't around, but he did it? So, like, maybe a substitute was there, or even maybe, you left the room to, go to the restroom or something like that.
Interesting. Well, I guess I don't know. The sub has never reported anything to me.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily mean it hasn't happened.
Right. And it sounds like, there would never be an opportunity when he'd just be, like, chilling solo in the classroom, regardless. If anything, other peers would be there.
Right.
Does the person engage in the problem behavior even when leisure activities are available?
No, I mean, when they're on breaks and have free time.
Okay. And is the behavior... I skipped one. I'm sorry. Does the problem behavior appear to be a form of, self-stimulation? Like, do you think there's anything about, like...
It's just fun?
Like, it's just fun, or, like, look at that paper flying through the air... like a feather, or like listen to that slap of the book on the ground. Which it seems like a weird question, but
no,
hey,
I get that. No, I mean, I feel like if that was the case, you'd be doing it more often, and not just these specific cases.
Very good point. Great. And so it sounds like this doesn't really have anything to do with kind of like a level of stimulation or something.
No,
like that.
I mean, it might also be fun, but that doesn't really seem to be the motivator.
Right. Do you notice any kind of, patterns with regards to when this is likely to occur versus not likely to occur? So, like, he'll go through, like, a whole couple days stretch of doing it and then not doing it for a while, and then you think, great, we're over that, and then it comes back, and...
No, it's been pretty consistent.
Yeah. And pretty consistent, like, did this start... from, the get-go of entering your class this year? Because this is, we're at 5 months, you said, now. Did it get kind of more consistent? Or, like, why at this point is it now, like, disruptive and a concern?
Yeah, I mean, we're just back from the holiday break, right? So I guess I kind of hoped that maybe he'd come back and things would be different.
Santa brought some maturity.
Maybe. But... and I can't really say that it started right away, but I think as soon as he saw, well, he's going to get a rise out of me, and of course, why wouldn't it? It certainly did happen pretty consistently.
Okay. So you think at kind of some of those initial ways that you responded may have...
Yeah, and I mean, of course, the class cracks up, too. They know that he's messing with me. So. Yeah.
And then, it puts you in a tough position because you obviously don't want to disrupt their learning either.
Yeah, and I can't just ignore it. So.
Okay, so does he have any kind of chronic illnesses or, anything like that might kind of contribute to him being, more or less able to, tolerate doing this kind of work, so to speak?
No, definitely not chronic. I mean, if he comes to school sick, I think anyone would have a shorter fuse, so to speak.
Right. But, he seems... relatively, healthy, you're not concerned about any, like, sleep issues or anything that's going on that may make it so when he comes in, it's just...
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, and so it sounds like then that there's, not really any kind of medical conditions or anything like that we need to be taking into consideration. Okay, anything else that you want to make sure is on my radar before, I kind of start picking through all these data and try to figure out what's going on?
No, I don't think so. I mean, this has just been... it's kind of the only problem in the class at this point. It's just disruptive when everyone's trying to do their work, and then I can put a stop to it if you've got any good advice for me.
Well, hopefully I will soon.
All right, thank you.
Okay.